Welcome to this episode of YouTube. Don't have a lot of footage this week. We have still full winter coats, but we have some pretty warm sunny days, making for some pretty warm wolves. We've left some of the straw in the enclosure that insulates the snow so that we keep some snow and ice on the ground. But then if there's the transition time when the winter coats make them warm, the warm days add to that issue, and they tend to be laying down a lot or trying to cool themselves in a lot of ways. So that was Grizzer there. And again, Grizzer's still howling with the pack. The tone is higher, so definitely a lot more social behavior. In retirement, Shadow is again feeling a lot better. We've got some RLU and a big scrape here. You can see all the snow is receded from the enclosure. We still have a little bit of frozen water issue in their pond. That's the drain, not draining yet, but for the most part we've got everything pretty well thawed. Going to be working in the next couple of weeks on straw removal, which some of that will be waiting for the Working for Wolves crew to assist. Once we get the straw out of the enclosure, we definitely need to either process it and use it as mulch or try to burn it. So that'll be a big crew job. But for the most part, the enclosure is pretty much down to dirt. Still a little bit of frozen ground in the mornings, but we're going to start to see some regeneration of vegetation and pick up some of that winter time debris, such as deer carcasses and hair and things. That'll be all raked up. We're seeing still typical sibling greetings here. Again, Malik's still trying to posture a little bit around Shadow, and Shadow's not really doing much about it, just doing a lot of circling and a lot of chin rests and tail postures, but nothing really more than that, and that's typically what goes on there. So in the main pack, we did see the pond, the ice melt and the pond drained, only to have it freeze and fill up again. So we will see a second bout of pond ice, but a little bit shallower than the previous one and a little less hazardous. Denali and Aidan are doing well. We're seeing some dominance of Denali over Aidan, and that's been recorded several different times by the ethology students as well as by staff, where Denali's doing a standover or doing a chase, or similar to last week's YouTube where Aidan is actually submitting to him. But for the most part, the social resting behavior continues to show them sleeping together or sleeping near each other, and utilizing whatever opportunities they have in the cooler part of the day to interact. But for the most part, middle of the day, just kind of laying on some area that's still got some packed snow or ice and trying to keep themselves cool as they start to shed. You will notice a difference in shedding patterns. Obviously, every individual wolf is different. The Arctics have already started a little bit of a shed, and again, that may be age related, but Malik has started to shed some leg hair, and Denali and Aidan are just showing some signs of some tufts of winter undercoat coming out. So that'll be progressing in the next week. We thought we'd take a little bit of time on this week's YouTube to talk about pups. Again, if you may not have heard, the center is going to be in part of our regular rotation of acquiring pups in the year 2012. But this is the time of the year when pups are born, and wanted to show you some pictures and see if you can try to guess which pup this is. So this is from a 2000 litter photo, and it is one of our wolves here. And you can definitely see a little bit of white coloration, so that should be a giveaway that this pelage is characteristic of an Arctic pup. An Arctic pup is typically born dark and then lightens up. And this one was named after a basketball player. This is Malik's photo here. And Shadow is on the right and of this photo, and you can see the difference here. And Shadow's got a much broader head. Malik on the left, a much narrower head, and that continues to be the pattern for today, as well as Shadow having a little bit darker muzzle. And this is about a 2.5-month-old pup. You can see the guard hairs coming in, and they're starting to get their coloration that is characteristic of an Arctic. And this is a pup that's going on 3.5 months or 3 months of age here. And you're going to see mostly white is very characteristic of that full pelage. Now this photo is pups that were born in 2004. So we've got two individuals here, and they're both same coloration. You might notice a little bit of difference in size of head. And if you can look closely, the one on the top there is a female, if you know your parts of that anatomy. And this one, again, a pretty big skull, pretty wide head. That is actually Grizzer when he was a pup. And so, again, characteristics of morphology or skeletal structure will remain. This is Maya in comparison. This is actually Maya, and I believe she was about 12 or 13 days of age. So she was smaller head, smaller muzzle, smaller conformation as a female. And this is Maya at maybe about 7 or 8 weeks of age, and you can see again that narrower, thinner face of a female. So that's the two of them. These two were born in May 2008, and you're seeing one, again, a muzzle head a little bit larger than the other, but overall similar size. One thing you'll notice in these photos is you might see some red toenails here, and one of the things that we did, because they were a little bit tough to tell apart, is we painted toenails red on one of the pups here, and that was his nickname, was Red Paw. And that's actually Denali when he was a pup. And Denali was a pretty playful pup, pretty active pup, and you'll see oftentimes trying to push his way around, which he's really trying to demonstrate today, actually. We're seeing some dominance like that. Aidan, on the other hand, was a smaller of the two pups, and Aidan is probably best known for a lot of oral fixations, a lot of chewing, a lot of grabbing. Even to this day, when he wants wolf care attention, he makes you know about it. Takes a grab of your arm or tugs on your coat. Smaller of the two pups had some interesting coloration when he was a pup, with a kind of a white patch underneath his chest. But overall, again, coloration, what you're seeing here is the undercoat. They don't develop that dark or their pelage and their guard hairs until they're about 2 months of age, when they start getting that. So that's Aidan there. And Aidan was a character. Aidan was always full of a lot of interesting body postures that made you think about working with wolves. All the wolves do have birthdays coming up. Shadow and Malik are going to be 11 on May 8th. Grizzer is going to be 7 on May 5th. And Aidan and Denali are going to be 3 on April 28th. So thanks for watching.